everyone, I'm Isabel, and I'm here with Tarish Batra. He's the VP of Investments at Range. And what are we going to talk about today?
Debt and how AI can save us.
Interesting. With the passing of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, how concerned are you about the ballooning deficit?
We're not going to stop spending as a country. So policymakers have made that very clear. And this isn't normal. This wasn't always the case. Right now, our debt to GDP levels are around 100%. And just a few years ago, before the pandemic, this was closer to the mid-70s. The Big Beautiful Bill has us in line to start spending even more. This affects things like mortgage rates, corporate borrowing, job creation. So it does have an impact on everyday Americans' lives. I think the reason to be optimistic is that we may get bailed out by AI. The bull case is that AI-driven increases in productivity would lead to higher GDP growth and lower inflation. And that would be the panacea for markets.
So you're saying AI could potentially save the day. Is that only within the tech sector, or is that for the entire economy? How would that really work?
We could be set up for a virtuous cycle where AI-driven productivity leads to higher GDP growth, which leads to more tax receipts and tax revenue for the government. If they have more revenue, they have to borrow less to fund spending, which leads to lower deficits. Lower inflation frees the Fed up to bring rates down. And with lower rates, the government is now spending less money on interest payments and interest expense, and they have more money to spend to reduce the debt burden and or to stimulate the economy in other ways to, again, further boost GDP growth. So that's the virtuous cycle that we've seen in prior periods of meaningful productivity growth that could end up leading to us growing our way out of the problem. Even if we're still continuing to spend, as long as the growth is there, we can afford it. We've seen this before. AI-driven productivity, it's not an incremental innovation. This is more akin to the steam engine, electricity, the internet. The last time we had meaningful innovation like this, which was the dot-com era or the period of PCs and the internet, you saw productivity growth average 1% or less, kind of in the 70s going into the early 90s. All of a sudden spiked to around 2% during that 1995 to 2005 period. Right now, more recently, it's come down again back towards those 1% levels. And when you look at economic forecasts, they're projecting productivity to stay around where it's been over the last several years. If you see meaningful impact from AI, which I think we believe that we're going to see into our productivity growth, if that 1 to 1.5% becomes closer to 2 to 2.5 to 3%, all of a sudden, instead of our debt to GDP going from 100 to 120, 130%, we could actually spend the same that we're expecting to spend, but our debt to GDP levels could actually stay pretty constant.
But won't AI take people's jobs?
Yeah, AI is going to take people's jobs. It's also going to create a lot of new jobs. So we've seen this in history where jobs that are displaced by automation have historically been replaced with new jobs that didn't exist before. Today, 60% of occupations that exist didn't exist in 1940. So 90% of job growth has really been driven by technological advances into brand new professions, brand new verticals that were non-existent 85 years ago. So you're seeing postings for prompt engineers that really know how to utilize AI. You're seeing, legal engineers be created. These are people that are trained in the law, that have taken the bar, but also know how to code. And even kind of on the lower income side, you're seeing plenty of new jobs be created in terms of data labelers, right? People that are looking at images and labeling them to help train models. So we've seen this over history where innovation will change the way that we work.
Is that what's happening at AI leading companies like Range?
Range is a great example. We're hiring CFPs, CPAs, CFAs that can not only serve our members, but as subject matter experts. These are critical teammates that are helping us build the product, that are working with the technical teams, working with product and engineering teams to make sure that our frameworks are sound, to make sure that we're delivering best-in-class advice through our technology. So, these are people that they don't just exist. We can't just find people that have 10 years of product management experience at Meta, but also happen to be CFPs and CFAs. They're not hanging off of trees, right? So this is an opportunity for us to mold what we think is going to be the knowledge worker of the future.